Thursday. We don't say that right away. We say good Friday Eve. Welcome to the Sideline Junkies podcast network. Welcome to our show that has all the people saying Thursday night Throwdown. Yeah.
Hey, man. What's going on? You wait all week for it, baby. How you feeling?
Man, let's skip that and just go right to the business.
Well, if you don't know by now, let me put this down. That's the Midnight Rider. I'm the big guy, KG. We are two of your Sideline Junkies here on this Thursday night or Friday Eve, as the Midnight Rider calls it. Welcome to the Thursday night Throwdown. We're gonna jump off in this thing. We already got rules.
Okay. So we gotta stay under Chuck Persons.
Yeah. And look, what's funny is I was gonna say, hey, he not here. We going off tonight.
Yo, I was about to say the same thing.
Let's get into this thing. Normally when we got sad news, we always start off with the sad news, and it's a lot of sad news to go around. This is the second show on the road. We got to start off with sad news. It was announced yesterday that one Virgil, Michael Jones, better known as Virgil to WWF fans, passed away. He was battling a litany of illnesses, dementia, and quite a few other things. He was best known as the valet for the $1 Million Man and the $1 Million Champion at one point in time. He was also a member of the NWO. Man, he debuted in 1985. He just retired just back in 2020. So, really? Yeah. It was always, a lot of people used to make fun of him because he was set up at shows and nobody would go over to his table. And then people started finding out nobody was going to his table, so they would go over to his table just to be there. Just to be there. So, man, rest in peace to him. Condolences. Any memories you want to share before we move
on? Virgil was just, I think he completed the whole $1 Million Man mantra, the look. I always remember the one where like they got the little kid to do something and then Ted like didn't give the kid the money or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the laugh alone for DiBiase made it work. But I think the muscle version of it, like he had his bodyguard or a hitman. So if you got out of line, you had to go through that first before you got to him. Another one of those beauties of wrestling where the person that kind of that is the manager to some extent actually gets some shine or some of the limelight by actually becoming a wrestler for certain pieces of time. And there's a lot of those out there, especially on the male side. First person that comes to mind is DDP. DDP was I guess, for lack of a better term, a sidekick. And then he became a wrestler himself and created his own legacy. So that's just the things that stuck out for me. And the fact that he actually had a career outside of Ted DiBiase, which was also good.
And, you say that. And another person that's in that vein with Virgil, DDP, the Road Dogg. Remember, he was with Jeff Jarrett, and he was the one singing "With My Baby Tonight." Most people don't know that. So,
yeah, I did. I'm today's years old.
You didn't know that? I scooped you on that.
I think you scooped me on that because I don't remember it. I might be this is one of those things where I have to see it sometimes for it to jog my memory. So if I see the outfit or whatever, then I'll recognize it because he's also somebody's brother. He's one of the Armstrong boys, right?
Yeah. Yep. Road Dog Jesse James. I think it's no. No, I'm wrong. I had to look it up.
All right, what we talking about?
As far as Road Dog Jesse James.
Oh, okay, he wasn't. All right.
He
So there we
comes
go.
from a family of wrestlers, but
yeah. I thought he was one of the Armstrong kids. But let's get out of that wormhole, man.
Yeah. So next up, another sad one. Actor Richard Lewis. I'll explain how this connotates to sports. But actor Richard Lewis has passed away. For those of you that grew up early 90s and you start really watching stuff you wasn't supposed to watch, and you saw Robin Hood Men in Tights. That's just one. That's not the best, but that's just one where he played an amazing character. It was absolutely a great movie. I think I'm gonna watch it tonight. But the reason why I say this correlates to sports is if you remember the campaign during the 90s, the NBA, this game is fantastic. And then you had the NBA, I love this game. He had a couple spots where what did he say? He said, I want to settle down. I want to find a nice woman. I want to fall in love and I want to have kids and all that. But until then, I love the NBA. I felt him 100% on that. Then he also has another one where he's I think he reads a poem of why he hates the Raiders.
Okay.
So, a lot of sports roots there for him. Thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, he's one of the main reasons, even in his sickness, that I love that show, Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's him, JB Smoove, and who's the main actor on that? The old writer.
Larry David.
Larry David. Like I watched that, and like he's one of the reasons I got into it. Aside from Larry David was Richard Lewis's character. And you can tell he was sick at the time. They were doing the show, but yeah, he was definitely a favorite. I definitely enjoyed watching him. Oh Lord. One of the Knicks young guns, Sims, just tried to dunk on Looney. Ooh, Lord. That would be ugly. But no, yeah, that's about it for me on Lewis.
Yeah.
And he was always edgy. He was always edgy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was one of those guys that he could push that line to the nth degree, and wouldn't get in trouble. I don't know how well he would work in this society, if he was a growing comic now. But yeah.
Condolences to both gentlemen, family, and friends, and also the fans out there, man. People say, well, you shouldn't cry with somebody you never met. Well, you don't understand how people are connected to your upbringing, your childhood, got you through a tough time. You can't tell people how to feel over a celebrity or anybody. So rest in peace to both gentlemen. Now, jumping into the crux of the show, FedEx ends its naming rights deal with the Commanders 2 years early. I got my thoughts on this, Midnight Rider. Let me hear your thoughts.
No, I'm gonna let you start this because you seem to have a very what's the word? You just have an edge on this that I want to hear before I make my thoughts.
Okay. Now, if you didn't see this coming, you got to be blind as a bat, because if you remember, the head of FedEx, the CEO of FedEx, was a minority owner of the Commanders and was bought out by Daniel Snyder 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right around the time all of the scandal hit, the second scandal hit, and it really blew up. So you kind of figured that was coming. That was always talked about. Now, me personally, I never liked the FedEx name on the stadium. That's me. I never did like it because I love the simple fact that we had a stadium and it was called Jack Kent Cooke Stadium. I'm good with that. You know, we tried to come up with different names for it. You know, they called it the Cooker for a little bit, and that didn't really stick. But FedEx Field didn't have the ring to it. It didn't, and I don't really care for corporate naming rights anyway.
I was about to say,
You know,
put a truth here.
Yeah, I really don't care for corporate naming rights anyway. You know, if it's on a stadium when it's built, okay. You know, like the Great Western Forum. You know, it's known as the Forum, but it was the Great Western Bank. Okay, but you knew it as the Great Western Forum, but it wasn't tattooed all over everything. It was just part of the name. It's just.
I think.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I think also the winning culture and climate has to do a lot with that. Like you think of, like nobody cares that the Pistons played in Auburn Hills. It was just the Pistons played at Auburn Hills, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost sometimes the name gets its cachet from the winning and the amount of playoff time or winning that was done. Let's think about like Heinz Field. It's no longer Heinz Field, it's something else. But I guarantee you, if we polled 100 people, they'd still tell you it's Heinz Field. They wouldn't know the new name of the place. So some of this naming right stuff kind of sticks to it. Like the Staples Center. I'm never calling it crypto. It's the Staples. Never. So that's kind of where I stand on that. I'm kind of glad it's gone too, because I feel like it's just an eyesore, and it helps. To me, it helps actually tear off the Band-Aid of like what was left of the Snyder era. I know Snyder didn't make FedEx, but he didn't illuminate or make it a better place. Like he didn't uplift FedEx at all. He actually tore it down and made it worse. And it's of course one of the worst 32 venues, or the 32nd venue in the league. So the name, to me, them dropping off or going away, actually I think that helps Harrison Company set up the new deal, because you can always enter the new deal one of two ways. Give them a short term, say, hey, for the next 3 or 4 seasons, you can have the naming rights to this place. Or you put them into an 8 or 10-year deal. You give them naming rights to the new park that's opening up as well. And maybe you charge them less while we're in FedEx, quote unquote. And then, you up the ante when you get to the new place, or you give them first option in negotiation in the new building. And I think those are your places where you can make it stick. It's not a long-term commitment. 4 years, 80 million. That's how long we plan to be here. What do you think? 4 years, 80 million. First rights. 8 years, 100 million. You bring the name with you. Well, I mean, we gotta carry the name with us. So those are just my ideas.
From what I'm hearing through the grapevine and through it's crazy because of what today is, but the scuttlebutt is 2027. They want to be in a new home.
Well, that's physically impossible, bro.
What do you mean?
I mean, you still haven't picked the place, and we're in 24 right now.
Let me get to that, because we just had some new developments. Let me get close. We got some new developments.
Yeah, but even with those developments, let's say the developments for the developments.
Well, it all goes hand in hand.
So then do the segue.
So wait, I got to create. We're gonna call this new developments. Oh man, hold on, I'm coming. I got to get this right.
No, do your thing, man.
But the new developments are, here we are. Oh shoot, I put it on the ticker.
There you go. That's fine.
The new developments with the Washington Commanders. Number one, FedEx is done. Okay, They got a bill for relocation to RFK Stadium, and RFK Stadium being redeveloped into a new stadium of some sort.
Well, we gotta take some of the assumptive language out of that statement. It's called the RFK reconstruction project or something like that. It doesn't really incorporate quote unquote stadium per se, because they don't want to have that on it and then it not be there because of somebody messing up. So I think it's called something else. Like, I don't think it's called the RFK Stadium. I think it's called the RFK reconstruction, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you're correct on that. Now it's passed the Senate. I think
No,
it
it's past
passed
the House, I thought.
It passed the House.
Yeah, and we gotta get it to the Senate.
Okay, because Rick Snyder posted the vote, and it passed overwhelmingly. I think it was like 38 nays, so we're good.
Yeah, and I think they said most of the nays were from Maryland.
Of course, because Maryland doesn't want to lose that money.
Right.
But we're talking about federal land, and what's crazy is they called me a madman when I said, hey, we can leave FedEx behind. You can do whatever you want with FedEx. You can tear it down, make luxury apartments, whatever. FedEx does not have the
je ne sais quoi?
Yes of RFK. It does not have it. RFK is slowly being torn down, but it went into disrepair. And I always said it. I said this before we started this podcast, after we started this podcast. I'm saying it now. If you take that RFK site, you have everything you need right there. You have the transportation issue taken care of. You have enough parking. You have everything you need right there. So you're bringing in revenue and jobs to DC, which is what they need. And everywhere you put a stadium, the area is supposed to get revitalized, right? It gets revitalized. You tear down the bare bones. You tear the whole thing down. You get your dimensions right. You put a new stadium there. Boom. You come back home. You kind of do the thing where you keep the RFK name in the name. You know, that's where you, of course, this is the era of corporate branding, and I'm not for it. You say, you know, BC Enterprises Stadium at RFK. Boom. But the new developments are, if this passes, that may be where they go along with the new practice facility. Somebody said sell that's not the original Redskin Park, but sell the existing Redskin Park, because they still call it Redskin Park, right?
No, it's called Commander Park or whatever.
Okay.
It's gone through a bunch of different names. It's been called when they were the football team, it was like the MedStar Center or something crazy like that. So it's had its own litany of names. They might as well just go ahead and throw the old Prince symbol on it just to make the circle complete.
Yeah. Now I'll say this. I get getting a new practice facility. You got the bubble and everything, but the thing is with the bubble, it's sitting. We used to have 3 fields out there, and now it's sitting on top of one of the fields, and it's just kind of haphazardly there. If you don't have the facilities, you're not gonna win. But somebody said sell that land, make big money off of that, because that land's worth millions. It's worth millions.
And millions.
And you sell it, you get that money, you put it towards the stadium project, you put it in your pocket, you put it in your pipe and smoke. I don't care what you do with it, but you can make money off of it. Boom.
But you can't make it. I mean, you got to have, the kicker is you have to have the contingency. And I think, the problem with them coming to Maryland is, and I'll say this, I don't know if the Maryland school system is going to be able to prop up, these athletes and their kids coming there. It depends on where these guys live in Maryland. Because I think with the next natural progression would be, if you get the RFK site, why stay in Virginia when you can move it to Maryland where you have land that you already own? That way you don't have to buy new land. You got the DC redevelopment project taking care of RFK. Now you probably have to do some money and spending there, but that gives you less money coming out your pocket. And you have all that room where you can build a state-of-the-art facility right there. You could put a wing, put a Redskins Hall of Fame, throw the practice facility. You can make it a whole thing. You throw the bleachers in, so like you have the main practice field, then you have the secondary ones. I know Philly has something right in the middle of the city. If you drive past on one of I forgot the name of the road, but you look to your left, the Eagles right there practicing. Now, of course, there's some guards up on the fence, but you can look through some of the cracks and see the Eagles players out there. So, I mean, it's right there. I think this is the other reason why I like the FedEx name going away, is because we're starting to crawl into the newness and the infancy stages of this ownership group, and we're starting to what's the word? We're starting to disassociate from what was, and we're going to start operating in what is.
I like that. I like that because we've been held hostage. Stockholm syndrome, didn't know it for 24 years. And we finally got out from it. And I mean, granted, Redskins Park is, or should I call it by its real name? Redskin Park is an actual great place because that's where they were working out of that, and we went to five Super Bowls working out of Redskin Park. Now that's the new Redskin Park. The old one was down in Chantilly. This one's in Ashburn, where the offices and everything is. But if you're not going to take this newness and make everything new, up to date, and state of the art, we not doing anything. So, we're gonna stick with the Commanders. Now this came up and people was like, "Uh oh, here we go again."
But you had the perfect segue because you started talking about Stockholm syndrome. Start talking about people not being able to let go of certain things, and this report that came out from Adam Schefter, where it's been stated that Josh Harris has been sitting in on meetings with the quarterbacks. First and foremost, I like the fact that they said quarterbacks. So he met with all six, as to not tip your hand that it's only going to be the first three. That's the one stroke of genius that I love about the information or what we got from today. The second thing I liked about it is the fact that he said back in September last year that he's going to sit in some of these meetings because he wants to learn the process. He wants to understand what it goes through. And if you pay attention, it's him and Bob. What's the guy from Bob Myers? So it's him and Bob Myers going through these interviews again. And I think what people aren't thinking about is they're laying down the groundwork for the foundation of what is leadership and what do we identify as leadership. So those two are setting the template. And so when they sit down with these quarterbacks, yeah, they want to sit in the back room and observe, but we got guys that are used to hiring high quality people in high level positions in organizations. So with your biggest investment into your new organization, which is going to be your quarterback, he becomes the face of your franchise. Why not have two guys that have knowledge and intimate knowledge of picking out leadership skills, picking out the people that define themselves and can help define your product, give you definition? How do you not have those two at least in the room listening? Because maybe when they go back after they talk to all six and the GM and everybody sitting there, in the back, they might be like, hey, y'all pick up on anything? And he may ask, hey, when you ask question 4, he did this and this and this. And you might hear somebody say, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. So it's like I think people are so quick to say things haven't changed that they haven't allowed things to change. They're actually holding change hostage.
Here's the thing, and this is what's crazy. it's a difference between sitting in on a meeting and conducting the meeting at the same time.
Bingo.
Because I can sit in on a meeting between a potential sponsor, and I can sit back in a room and listen to what's being said and pick up on the cues and pay attention to what the Midnight Rider and the boss BJ not seeing. And, after it's all said and done, yeah, I noticed this, I noticed that. I didn't like the body language. The numbers sound good, but I don't like the body language. All right. Daniel Snyder, you know what? I think that's the last time we'll say his name. He's on. You got to put him on the list with Voldemort. Can't say his name anymore. And I just fucked up. And excuse me, I just messed up and said that. So, but here's the thing.
Hey, that might be a topic. Who was worse?
It's different. Him and Jerry Jones had a lot of similarities. Jerry Jones, when they went into the war room, he wanted to be on the phone, not talking to nobody, because he wanted everybody to think he was making all the decisions. I need an owner that's not pressed to be seen. Josh Harris seems that way. The whole group seems that way. They seem like they're not pressed to be seen. So I'm cool with that. Sitting in on a meeting just to see how everything works, but you're not saying anything, you're just a fly on the wall. That's great. It's a different thing when you pay guys that are around you to put together draft boards and draft players that'll fit this team, and you say, no, I want this guy. And you got your scouts jumping up on the table, literally saying, no, we need this guy. No, I don't want him. I want him. And you got scouts leaving, not just the room, but the organization because of your interference and your meddling. We are not in that era anymore. We are done with that. And I'm happy about it. This is okay. Now, if it comes down to draft night and we start seeing Josh Harris on the phone and he's all in the front and, every time the camera goes in the Washington's war room, he's there. Nah, I don't want that. I liked it better during the pandemic when everybody was home.
And Cliff Kingsbury had the dopest house.
Yeah. But the best war room was Bill Belichick. It was just him and his dog.
Nah, the best war room was Cliff Kingsbury with the dynamite view. Only thing was missing was somebody, some model bringing him like wine or beers and stuff throughout the course of the draft. Between picks, he get fed grapes.
Wow. And still didn't pan out. Well, shoot, let's do it from his house this year.
Yeah.
I
don't know if he got the same. He ain't got the same setup here.
Hey, look here. Certain things you don't do. When you move into cities, you don't get rid of those houses that's pretty like that. You may rent that bad boy out, but you don't get rid of it.
Right. Heck yeah.
Right. And Arizona is a retirement town, baby. You got a house in Arizona somewhere, that's retirement.
We're going to use that for our Airbnb whenever we go to Arizona.
Hey, you go to Arizona and play, you got a house to stay. Hey, everybody can come on over here. We good. Rumor that I heard, and I want to know if you heard this. I'm sticking with the NFL, and we NFL heavy tonight too. Fields to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Fields to Atlanta is a true thing, are you with it or are you against it? Now, let me preface this. A video was posted about Justin Fields going home and him in the kitchen jumping up and down, dancing, let's go. So, don't know if it's in the works, but apparently the trade is imminent once they're allowed to make trades. How do you feel about it, if it's true?
If it's true, it's the best thing that happened for the kid. He went from having, and this is no offense because they shared the backfield 2 seasons ago in Texas, but he had Roquan Johnson, Khalid from Virginia Tech, and for parts of the time he was there, he had David Montgomery. He had DJ Moore for only a year. He had Daniel Mooney and he just turned Cole Kmet into a decent tight end. And you're gonna leave that to go with Algier, Bijan Robinson, the wide receiver Drake
London.
You get Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you step that offense up because his arm alone and his ability, you put him and Bijan in the same backfield and let them do a read option. You figure it out. It's just like I can't wait for this year for the Colts. When Anthony Richardson is healthy and you got to deal with Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, yeah, have fun. Because I'm gonna use the old line from my man Matt. We're going to knock them all down and let the paramedics sort it out. Because that's what's going to happen.
Oh, whew. JoJo checking in. She says, "So why is it okay for Fields to go home, but Caleb is the worst thing?"
Well, I mean, I think again we got to talk about people loving the easy narrative, and the easy narrative is right now we've had two players in this organization both not live up to their potential or what people thought they were going to be. And the main driving factor that everybody's going to use is the fact that they live in DC, they were born in DC, and it doesn't help that the other narrative right behind that is KD never wanted to come back here. So that's why there's a difference. There's no true track record of players in Atlanta being from Atlanta, at least in our media market. We're not going to hear those stories. So for him, and I think he's perfect for going back there. He should have never left Georgia. He should have been the starter instead of him sticking with Jake Fromm. So it's like they held talent hostage, let him sit a year. He goes to Ohio State, wins the job right away, has a couple great seasons, gets drafted to a team bereft of offensive talent. And now, yeah, if it comes through, I think it's a smokescreen, to be honest with you, because we are in lion season. But I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, but now, if it happens, remember you heard it here first, okay? Because nobody's talking about it. Sideline Junkies are talking about it. You heard it here first. So when it happens, told you so. The big dog checking in. What's going on, man? Hope everything's well with you.
He's using the hockey nickname today.
I'm looking over this Atlanta roster. Here's a question, and then we'll move on from it. What happens to Desmond Ridder? Is he damaged goods?
No, he goes to his rightful place as a backup quarterback because he's shown you that he can at least operate an NFL offense. He doesn't do it well, but he's proficient enough that if you have to play 2 or 3 weeks in a season, he won't wet himself.
Well, we talking.
Go ahead. No, go ahead and say what you're gonna say because I already know what I think I'm gonna rebut to. But go ahead and say your piece.
He what?
I said say the piece that you're about to say.
No, he was we talking a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, but
so
he's a 3rd round quarterback.
You're not gonna be, you're not paying out a bunch of money. So you're not losing anything, but do you trade him and get picks back? Because I think you can get a 3rd, a 5th.
If you get a 3rd, they should fire that GM tomorrow. If the best you should have to do is swap 6 or swap 7s to get that guy.
Okay.
And I say it's something tongue in cheek, but some of this is like Ridder has shown nothing to warrant. Like I'd rather give up a 3rd for Sam Howell because I see more promise in Howell than I saw in Ridder at all the whole time.
Okay,
I'll say it that way.
Real quick, put your GM hat on.
Hold on.
There we go. Now, who's got the worst quarterback situation in the league?
Period.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Because I think a lot of teams are going to get it figured out. So I think I would start with the Raiders.
Okay. Let's start with the Raiders.
I would follow it up with because you figure New England, Washington, and Chicago all fixed theirs some way, shape, or form. I think the next worst is Pittsburgh because I know it's going to be a free agent. We just don't know who that free agent is, and that's another possible landing spot. I would say for a guy like Fields. That's why I think some of that news came out. Denver's another good call, big dog.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Denver, they're just waiting to see what they got to give up to move to like 8 or 9. Well, actually, they don't have any to move up. So they just got to hope somebody falls to them. And whoever that person is, they like.
Okay. Let me
I can see Bo Nix, but I can see J.J. McCarthy there also, just because he likes the ball being thrown on time. He likes it to be precise. Some have tried to give McCarthy a little breeze love, which I don't get, but I think the main thing about McCarthy is they just say he's a winner. So I can see him being in Peyton's system and making it work.
Okay.
Good call, though, because I didn't even think about that.
And they trying to get rid of Russell, so. And JoJo says, "Oh, he gonna be a backup." Now, here's the thing: you got your Raiders GM hat on. I'm Atlanta. I call you on the phone. Hey, let me get your fifth round pick, which is 147. Your 6th round pick, which is 210. You take Desmond Ridder off my hands, and we're probably throwing some cash considerations.
I'm hanging up my phone because you wasted my time. Because if any conversation, if I'm the Raiders, and I say that because if I'm the Raiders, there's only one conversation I'm having with Atlanta on draft day, and it's day one. If they pick up Justin Fields, then I'm asking them, what is it going to take for me to go from 12 to 8 to get me somebody that's higher up on my list to try to ensure that I get the quarterback that I want. Because what's going into it is, I mean, think about like this: 1, 2, 3 quarterback, right? 4, 5, and 6 are probably wide receivers. Now that depends on the Giants, because the Giants have an interesting quarterback situation.
Yeah, but here's the thing:
who's 7? I forget who's 7, but then who's 8, and then that becomes your line of demarcation of you gotta get a quarterback at 8 because you gotta jump ahead of Denver.
And JoJo also said if we're not trading for Justin, you basically drafting a quarterback if she's not trading for Justin.
Right.
I get it. But look, we got to put a pin in that because we got to run. But I had to throw that out there. And we may have to pick this back up on Sunday.
Yeah, but no, it's a great question and a couple great scenarios. And those are things we could talk about. We can kind of start our draft preview.
Right. So that works.
Big Dog is right there with us. He thinks ATL, Pitt, and Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I think.
Now, rumor mill says ATL, but we will see. And here's the thing. Pittsburgh has Kenny Pickett. Wasn't Kenny Pickett a 2nd round pick?
He was a first. I think he was 21st overall.
21st. Okay. I wasn't familiar. I'm glad I got you here.
I mean, you can fact check me, but I think he's 21st overall in the 1st round. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing about Pickett is, I think you've seen the best of him. I think the best of him is being somebody's backup, holding a clipboard, and having a 10-year career. His career is going to last longer if he just goes ahead and becomes a backup and runs out his contract and then finds an OC. Hopefully, there's an OC in Pittsburgh that travels around the league and he gets carried along with that guy the rest of his career.
JoJo said he was a 1st round 20 pick in 22. JoJo said, I think the Bears keep that number 1 and get Marvin Harrison Jr., my number 9 pick, O-line.
But then if the Bears give her the Fields, she has no quarterback. So she's saying,
now this is just a rumor. This is not just a rumor.
No, I understand that, but that means she's keeping Fields. And if that's the case, then you're trading. Look, if you're not drafting a quarterback at 1, you're picking up draft capital for number 1 again. You're doing exactly what you did last year. But the thing about keeping Fields is you start getting on the clock to pay for a quarterback.
And she said we keeping Fields.
And see, that's I think that's the bad route. Because this year is year 4. He gets his year 5 money, and then you guys start paying him $40 million in year 3. You got a young team. You got your corner you got to pay. You paying Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
Draft a young quarterback at 1 and let him on that rookie deal for 5 years be your starter. Okay. You have everything. You have stuff in place. Where even at 9, if you grab the kid Neighbors from LSU, or you grab, here I go. I'm gonna stop. Tune in Sunday because we're gonna do some version of a draft preview. All right, JoJo set me up, but no, I'm gonna stop there because it was about to go. It's about to.
Yeah, it's just that we up against it. That's all. Right. See, we were supposed to get away with so much tonight because the boss wasn't in. We were supposed to get away with so much. Anyway, we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to that Sunday. I'll make sure I write that down because I got the book right here. Here's a question. I'm sure everybody's seen the video of Cam Newton at the 7-on-7 camp having a fight with the gentleman. I don't even know what the fight was about. I don't understand why you want to fight somebody. You want to talk trash about an NFL player saying he's not that good, but he has an MVP. He's logged more yards in the NFL than you have, and you want to fight him when he's giving his time and effort.
So why? So part of that falls. Some of this falls on Cam from just some of the information I've seen. And of course, I have no guarantees that this is all the correct information. But what I've seen is Cam has a team in the league itself. There's a video on Twitter of him saying, like, if your team beats my team, like, I'll give y'all some money or whatever. So one of the clips was one of the guys involved in the incident because it was 3 coaches. Now, some of the players may have jumped in. You saw some of the smaller guys, but this was actually 3 of the coaches from the league, from what I can gather. And if anybody has any information otherwise and can correct me, please do. Reach out to us at the Sideline Junkies 24/7. That's our chat. Also, ask to be a member. We'll add you, and you can join in any conversation, and you can clarify this for me because mine is all secondhand nature. So I'm gonna throw in my big word, allegedly. Cam has lost his one coach 3 times. So they've had some words. They talked some trash. Looked like Cam did well for himself. And so I don't want to blame this all on the kids because I don't know if the kids were actually all the way involved. I'll say it that way. So I'll leave us some room to do some more investigative reporting and figure it out.
And I'll say this very, very quick. I don't care what it was. We have so many things in our community. When I'm saying our community, I'm talking about the Black community dividing us. That shouldn't divide us. It's no way in 4 hells 2 grown men, 3 grown men, any grown men should be fighting over something of a kid's game. That's a black eye, not just on this 7-on-7 league, but that's a black eye on us as black men. They already think lowly of us. And you know when I say they already think we're savages and we can't control ourselves. I'm not saying you gotta, toe the line, but we come from a line of kings and queens. Hold your head high and act like it. That was unnecessary. And we're in a viral age, so everything you do, somebody's watching. I'm just saying. I don't care what it was. It could have been talked out. Just my opinion on what I've seen. And certain things just can be talked out. So I'll leave it at that. We'll do some more investigation. We'll talk about it more later. Wrapping this thing up. Midnight Rider, you got any final words before we go?
I can't wait till Saturday. Actually, Sunday. I can't wait. Because this week will be done. I can just close the chapter on this week from Sunday to Sunday and start a fresh new week, man. But, everybody in the comments, thanks for coming out. Also, real quick, on the buyfortmost.com discount maniacs, today's day 1 of their March Madness sale. So if you buy the rye whiskey and the rum, and you get 20% off of that. And if you buy 2 bottles or more, you get free shipping. So I would say look into that because, if you're trying to get a drink and you like a good rum, you like a good rye, even if you like the regular whiskey, it's all at your fingertips, all options for you.
Good plug there. Good plug. Ladies and gentlemen, today is February 29th, 12 years ago today. The John Thompson Show signed off for good. We got Coach back every once in a while, but the official show was signed off 12 years ago today. And if it wasn't for that show, we wouldn't be here. So,
and special shout out, because he's been in the comments, but special shout out to Hill, Lee Ice. 4 years ago, I think to yesterday, a little thing called All In Sports was started. And 4 years later, we've got 2 shows off of it. We got more than that. We've come a long way. I hope you gentlemen understand and realize that I appreciate you immensely, because I wouldn't be doing this at this level without your influence, without you guys even getting us started. So personally, thank you to All In Sports, to Clear Productions, to Vogel Hill, to Lee Ice. 4 years and we still going.
Yeah, I got to say thank you too, because if it wasn't for that, Maryland Magic Johnson would have never hooked up with the Virginia Magic Johnson. We make magic, baby. That's what we do. So, as always, in honor of Coach John Thompson and the John Thompson Show, Smoking Al Koken, all those guys, B. Mitch, Doc, Shin, everything that's transpired. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So, somebody go hit It's 5 o'clock somewhere by Alan Jackson. Let's get on up out of here because we don't do no overtime, baby. We are out of here.